Okay, we're going to start by going to the Azure portal, and the first thing we're faced with is logging on. And this is the common interface to all tenants. I'm going to put in my corporate credentials, so john@xtseminars.co.uk, and immediately I go to my branded logon page. Now, we're in the business of doing seminars, and that's showing our seminar page. So we go back on that. I'm now going to log in as Tor. Now, Tor is from my masterclass, and we end up at the XTS Hub logon page. Tor has a rather convoluted actual name, tor@one.users.xtshub.com, and this allows us to have lots and lots of different domains in our class. So we'll just finish logging in as him, and we end up at portal.azure.com, and this is the new HTML5 portal, which only had Azure Active Directory functionality turned on in September of this year. If we have a look at this, we first of all get a dashboard. And what I want to do actually is go, rather than looking at the dashboard right at this second, I want to go straight to looking at the different operations we can do. So we can manage users and groups, enterprise applications, app registration, but let's actually use domain names, and let's look at that. Now, you will have seen in the text that we automatically have a default domain name, and our default domain name, just look at that, we've actually got a default domain name here of onmicrosoft.com. XTSMSC1A is the tenant ID. I also have another couple of domains, one of which is federated and the other which is not. But we'll come back and talk about that at a later stage. But for the moment, let's actually go and create a new domain. So I'm going to go add, and I'm going to add mydomain.com. I don't know who owns that, but apologies if it's yours. I'm not really going to add it. And what I'd need to do to prove ownership of this is either to place a text record in the appropriate DNS zone file, or to place an MX record. But I'm not going to do either of those, so we'll just delete that. Well, I'm not going to do it because they don't own it. But it does show you how you can add a domain. Let's go and look at users and groups. And this is very user-centric. So I've got all my users, and I'm going to choose one particular user, and I'm going to choose Harry. So in we go to find Harry, and there he is, Harry Lime. And if we look at a bit more detail of Harry, we can see how often he's logged in between certain dates. Well, 0 times. Let's have a look at Harry's profile. And we can see his name and other details about him. We can also add a photograph for Harry. And if we drop down here, what we can see is he has a user type of member, and he's from Windows Server AD, which means he's been synchronized from my on-premise AD server. If I click on directory roles, I can change his role within the Azure Active Directory. So I could change him from being an ordinary user, for instance, into being a global administrator. I can look at Harry's group membership, and currently he only belongs to class users, but I can add to that. So we can come in here and we can see all our groups, and we can actually add Harry into different groups. If we go back to the dashboard for a second, you'll see over here some other capabilities, and we've got identity protection and privileged identity management. Those come with the P2, so the Premium 2 subscription. There are certain things that you cannot do in the old portal, and certain things you have to do in the old portal at the moment. One of the things you can't do is manage B2C. So managing a B2C directory has to be done through the new portal. For the moment, what I'd like to do is just take you to the old portal so we can see what it looks like in contrast. So I'm going to close that down, and I'm going to go off to the Azure Classic portal, because we're not allowed to call it the old portal. And after a few moments, when it's finished whirling away, we'll go down to the Active Directory. And there it is. And what I can see is I have my MSC-1A tenant, and I can then come in here and manage users, groups, applications, and so on. And during this series, I'm going to have to revert back to the classic portal a number of times to be able to do some of the functionality that we need to be able to do. But remember, it's a work in progress, and all of the functionality will eventually end up in the new portal. That's it for this week. Thanks for watching the video, and hope to see you on the next video blog.